Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening or their ascension process. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys 3 different techniques you can incorporate into your life that will help you silence your inner critic. We all know what the inner critic is. It's just the thought forms of doubt energy, of fear energy, of apprehension. That energy translates into logical, rational reasons why maybe it is best that you don't pursue your dreams, you don't go forward, you don't take that leap of faith. And no one was ever taught how to deal with this freaking asshole critic of ours. So therefore we're sort of conditioned to being controlled by it. It actually does, in fact, for most people, influence their thoughts, their actions, their habits. Everything about their life is ultimately, for a lot of people, controlled by this jerk-off inner critic. But there are actual practical things that you can do to start to quiet it, to reduce the frequency, to learn to ignore it when it does flare up. And that's what this video is going to be all about. Number 1 is a technique I learned from one of my favorite authors and motivational coaches and speakers, Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins. He talks about a technique called kicking the legs out of your self-limiting beliefs. I'll give you an example of one of mine. Maybe you guys can relate. I think a lot of us tend to get sort of paranoid that our spouse is going to cheat on us. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. Anyway, when I was like really young, like adolescent age, I was very bad with girls, and I had this energy that would tend to push them away. I was sort of like, I always worked out, so I was able to like get a girlfriend pretty easily, but I could never keep them, and they'd always drift away because they would get to know me and realize I was fairly insecure at the core, and it would be a turnoff. So anyway, I've been with my wife 10 years. She has not shown the slightest sign ever of ever being unfaithful. I know her soul. We are literally connected. Soulmate. We have a soulmate bond. I know her better than anybody, maybe even better than herself. And I know that she would never do that. She would never be able to live with herself. I know the depth of our love. And yet, when she goes out with her girlfriends, all those old fears and feelings come up for me, as if I'm projecting my past experiences onto her. Like, whoa. And sometimes I'll be up, like, worried that, oh God, this could be the end of our relationship. I'll start thinking about, like, well, how are we going to split up the kids? And, it'll just go crazy. So when I incorporate this technique, I start to kick the legs out from under this belief. Meaning, a table with 4 legs can stand firm. It's not really going to go anywhere. It's pretty solid, obviously. You could kick 1 leg out, and it's a little wobbly, but it's still there. You kick 2 or 3 legs out, and that table falls. You can do the same thing to your limiting beliefs. Oftentimes, they exist because we haven't really stood up to them and examined them fully. So what I did in this situation, I was like, really, Vic? I start questioning the beliefs. Like, so Vic, what incident in particular do you really have to go on that would lead you to be concerned in this regard? Is there anything? Has you ever done anything like this? Well, no. Okay. You've been with her 10 years. I mean, don't you think something like that would have come up before you were married, before you had a bunch of kids, before you were companions in this wild adventure you've been on ever since? Okay. So I start questioning it, and all of a sudden you start to see just how illogical your previously unexamined self-limiting and paranoid inner critic type beliefs are. So you could do this in any situation. To start putting the burden of proof upon your doubts and ask it to justify why it exists, and you'll see that it has nothing. It has no legs to stand on. Number 2 is an awesome one that I use all the time, not more so now than before. I didn't know about it, obviously. It's from a book I read called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's called Giving Yourself a Conscious Pep Talk. So most people, including myself, have their inner critic has a bit of momentum going for it. For a long time, before all of our awakening, it was just who we are. We were our inner critic. We really we thought that racy, paranoid person in our head is our identity, right? And it's got all this momentum. Now we're kind of glimpsing and waking up out of it and realizing it. Like, that's not me. No, But it's got this hold on us. This inner critic tends to really just still influence our life quite a bit. But you can sort of start to drown out those paranoid, fearful types of doubtful thoughts with your own conscious thinking. I'll give you another example. One of the scariest things that I can remember is not even that scary of a thing. It was when I had to fire somebody. I used to own a gym, and it was like a friend of mine I made a mistake of hiring, and she was real sweet, and she was going to be my assistant, answer all my emails and do all that kind of stuff. She just was not working out. She wasn't like doing what me and my business partner told her to do. She had her own agenda. And no matter how many times we told her, we want you to do these things, she just would not do them, as simple as they were. She had her own ideas of what she wanted to do. And it just came to a point where we lost a bunch of clients because of her. So I had to fire her. And she was kind of a friend of mine and a client at the gym. She also worked out there. And I remember the fear. You guys ever had to break up with somebody, or like quit your job, or do something really awkward, or give somebody some news you know they're not going to want to hear, and you have those feelings? It's such a powerful physical feeling of like, oh God, I would chop my left foot off to not have to do this, you know? But I gave myself a conscious pep talk. I was like, Victor, you're going to be fine. She's going to understand. You're going to be practical and intelligent and nice about it. You're not going to hurt her feelings. She's a grown woman. She doesn't even need this job. She'll be just fine. She'll get over it. She's still going to be a client. Worst case, she quits. She hates her guts. Well, you did what you had to do. You're a business owner. You have the right to have an employee that does what you ask her to do. And if she's not going to do it, that's that. I just started talking to myself and talking myself out of it. And it didn't necessarily rid me of all those feelings, but it gave me some more momentum to where my true self sort of became more on board, and I went into there and I let her have it, and it went fine. It went beautifully. So though I use the conscious pep talk technique when I know there's something I got to do that I don't want to do, I coach myself in my head and help myself do it that way. That helps a lot. And the more you get used to making a habit out of this, the more frequent your conscious thoughts sort of kick in and quickly nip the inner critic in the butt, so it doesn't have time to get such momentum. Because as it builds momentum, it starts becoming creative and quite logical and giving you fairly what seem to be legitimate reasons why maybe you shouldn't fire her. We'll give her another week. Meanwhile, clients are dropping off left and right. No, you nip it in the butt with the conscious pep talks. Number 3 is develop the habit of being bold and courageous, not thinking about things too much, not allowing yourself too much time to think. A lot of times we get these inner nudges, and we know there's something that'd be ideal for us to do. But if we allow ourselves enough time, this inner critic, again, gets its foothold, starts spreading its spider legs. There's 8 of them now. And before you know it, you've talked yourself out of it. So a lot of people say, oh, you're lucky. You're lucky, Vic. You found your purpose. No, I'm not lucky. I went through hell and back. I went all over the frickin' place with this bold and courageous attitude and failed a gazillion times to find it. That's why I found it quick, because I was willing to get myself out there and to push myself into uncomfortable situation after uncomfortable situation, failure after failure after failure, because I did not think too much. Now, what is courage? A lot of people forget what the definition of courage is. Now, I'm not insulting your intelligence. I know what you mean. I know you know what courage is, but just hear me out. A lot of people have the assumption that they wait for themselves to feel good before doing something. Courage is going forth regardless of how you feel. It's not going forth fearless. It's going forth with the fear, and you do it anyway. That is courage. Become courageous. Become bold. And you will have enough successes inevitably as you keep trying whatever. You just keep stepping out there and being more bold in life, and then you will slowly have just like this natural aura of experience where you don't have to prove this will help you prove yourself to yourself. So you have a million of different experiences you can eventually reflect on, say, dude, you were courageous here, and some of them didn't work out inevitably or ultimately. It was a great success. You tried 10 things and only 3 worked, but those 3 things created an amazing situation for yourself. So here we go. So anyway, guys, that's it. Hopefully those 3 things will help you pursue your dreams, pursue your destiny, pursue your God-given purpose for being here. I know it's not easy. It's extremely difficult sometimes. It's easy to watch my video and to feel pumped up, but when it comes down to it, when you're finally face to face with the beast of your deepest fears, it's not easy. But you're all destined to do this, so you might as well start now.